Oh, you're amazing, man. I love that. Thank you.
It's a great intro. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Have you
How
been
are
at your table already, getting to talk with fans?
Yes, yes. Hopefully, if I haven't met you yet, I'll get a chance to say hello later. It's been amazing. So far, it's been just one after another. Really, really cool people. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you all for spending a Friday afternoon with us. As was mentioned, we will be doing a Q&A, but I want to kick things off. I want to go all the way back to your audition process because I read online, you didn't really know what you were auditioning for, and I think you were folding laundry like right beforehand. What was going through your head as you were kind of prepping for it and then doing it and then, eventually booking it?
Oh my goodness. Well, so first of all, everything about it was just completely wild and different than, like, normally you get a day in advance notice that you've got an audition for Taco Bell or whatever it is, and then like, okay, at least I know what I'm going to. I was on my way home, I think, from work, and I got a call from my agent that said, can you make it to a last minute audition? And I remember thinking, like, I remember the weather being bad, like it was probably December, I think, maybe. I don't know exactly what month it would have been, but like winter, and I had 2 dogs that I needed to walk, and I get this call, and I thought, I just want to go home. It was dark outside, traffic in LA, and I said, yeah, I recognize this is why I live here. I've got an opportunity. I'm gonna go. So they said it was it was called Untitled Video Game Project, and I assumed, because the agent that sent me on this audition was the one that sent me out for commercials all the time. And I thought, okay, so it's an audition for like a commercial for a video game or something. And I suggested that to the agent, and the agent said, maybe, we don't know. We don't know what it is. And so I thought, okay, whatever. All right, yeah, I'll be there. So I ended up going across town to this audition, and it was nuts in this place. This casting office was full of people running around crazy. And the first thing I noticed is that there were all these guys there auditioning, but they all had like camo on. And I thought, I might as well have looked exactly like this. I thought, nobody told me that, so I went in, signed in, and I thought, this is such a waste of time. I didn't want to do this. Get the full page of dialogue that they said, just memorize that, and we'll bring you in as soon as we can. And I thought, oh my goodness, it was a full page. And I get it now. Like, Rockstar, they're usually very, very well organized, and they don't make last minute changes often, but every now and then they do. Yeah. And they wanted to make sure, I guess, that if I was going to be a person that was going to work for them, I would be able to memorize a substantial amount of material. And then I went in there, they had it written on a board where I could read it. If I forgot something, I could reference this board where everything was written out. But they also did, they gave me a full basket of laundry of somebody else's clothes, dumped it out on the table, and they said, just while you're saying these lines, go ahead and fold those clothes. And I thought, what? What? Oh my goodness. So the lines that it was like cowboy themed, but I never read any of the same lines in the game. I remember talking about apple pie, talking to a woman saying, I really enjoy your apple pie, that, but you also know that I gotta leave town. These people know I'm here. I can't stay here. And so it was kind of saying goodbye and folding clothes. And so finally I got through it, and the guy running the session, the cameraman, basically was like, okay, cool, right, great. So you did great, but that's not exactly what they're looking for. And he gave me notes, and he said, we're going to do it again, and just think about what I said for a second. And then right about the same time, somebody else from the casting office came in and said, hey, real quick, can we buy? He was like, yeah, perfect. You think about what I said, as he walked out the door. And that guy was gone for 5 minutes. I don't know where he went. I have no idea where he went or what he did, but I had enough time to really, at this point now, I knew all the lines. I thought, I'm going to fold this first. I'm going to do this. And I had it all ready to go in my head. And so finally the guy comes back in, and when he does, he's got another actor with him. And he sees me, and he's like, oh. And like he completely forgot I was even in the room. And I remember standing there being like, get him out of here. I'm ready, you know? And unfortunately, the guy said, I'm so sorry. You know what? What you did the first time was perfect. I'm sure it was great. We've got to keep moving. We're really behind. And so he left the room, or I left the room thinking, I can't believe how much of a waste of time this has been for me. I mean, it truthfully felt like just one of those slap in the face moments, like part of it, I guess. But yeah, a couple weeks went by. My agent called and said, yeah, remember that video game thing? You booked it. I'm like, what? Like, none of it ever makes sense. If you book a role, you're like, I can't believe I booked that. The ones you think that you're going to book, you never hear anything. It's just kind of the way it goes. But I really was surprised. For the first game, they had us do dress rehearsals for the first few shoots anyway. And I showed up at the first dress rehearsal, and then they sat down a really thick non-disclosure agreement and said, go ahead and sign that. And as soon as I did, then they made me aware of what it was. But yeah, up until that point, it was just chaos.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And also, I'm curious because you were doing a lot of commercials, you said, and acting there. You know, what were some of the biggest, surprises that you encountered working with video games? Because even though all acting is acting, there are different things, especially if you weren't like trained in it and brought into it beforehand. Like, what were those things that you learned? They're like, wow, that's a learning curve.
Well, for one, I have never played a role. Until that role, I had never played a role. I mean, I did a handful of commercials, but most of the time you don't say anything in commercials. Or if you do, it's like one line, whatever the thing may be. But it's more about the product than it is about any performance, right? So I remember the very first shoot, may not have been the very first day, but I worked with Kevin Glickman, who played Seth, the gravedigger. Yep. And my goodness, I know probably most of you here have played Red Dead Redemption 2. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption yet, then I think that just to know who Seth is, it's worth it to play that game. He was so awesome. But I remember talking to him at lunch or something and being like, man, I've never had a situation like this. I don't know how to memorize these lines. There's so much of it. And he was the one that suggested to me that you record yourself reading not just your lines, but the entire scene, somehow differentiate your voice so you know that the lines that are for your character are yours, and listen to it like a song until you've got it down. And so I thought, okay, I'll try it. I mean, I was scared to death because I thought, I don't know how to do this. I mean, I never had any kind of an opportunity like that. So I did it. What I noticed, for whatever reason, whether it was a character or a scene with John talking to a man or a woman, every character's lines that were not John's, I made sound like a woman. and then I would just read out loud the lines for John, not try to perform it, but just to memorize it. And then, oh my goodness. But yeah, every single scene I had in my head, I learned everybody else's lines too, because then I knew when to say mine. But they were all women, all of them.
That's so interesting.
It worked for me. I don't know. It's really wild, I know. But yeah.
Have to go back and look at some of those moments and think about what you were thinking when you were recording them. But I'm curious too, as well, coming back for Red Dead Redemption 2, was that a surprise to you to get called back to step into that role again and earlier on in his life?
Yeah, very much so. Even Undead Nightmare, I didn't know. When we wrapped on Red Dead Redemption, I thought that was the coolest experience I've ever had. These guys are awesome, and I'm going to miss them. And I really didn't know until I got a call. We've got this thing, it's called a DLC. At the time, they were making those still. And they may still, I don't know. I think most things now, games just do online updates, or at least Rockstar tends to do that now, versus a DLC. But Yeah, when they said Undead Nightmare, I was like, this is so cool. I love it. And they said it's much shorter, but it's like a fun zombie thing. We're going to try and get it out for Halloween. And I thought, yeah, I love it. Awesome. And I was just so excited to be able to get back with these people and do more work. But then when that ended, there was never any kind of conversation about Red Dead Redemption 2 until they reached out to me again, and I thought, I just don't understand. And I'm not going to, I mean, listen, I know the game is 16 years old now, but to say spoiler alert sounds kind of stupid at this point, but also, like, I know, I just met a guy today who's like, I do not know the ending, I promise, and I thought, I do not know how, but anyway, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, and you shouldn't either, just in case, but yeah, I just thought, how's that even possible? And then they explained to me, yeah, it's a prequel, and oh my goodness, what cool news, you know? I mean, I'm thrilled to death that they did that.
And then you got to explore mocap as well. What was that process like? Because not only were you playing John, you also got to do kind of pickups for other characters and do different mocap stuff, right?
Yes, and my goodness, in most cases it was, you know, like, so mocap in general is kind of strange because you're walking around, everybody that's in the scene is wearing a spandex onesie, basically. You look like you're wearing a wetsuit, kind of, but it's got little markers where your joints are, and somehow these cameras in the room know how to, I don't know, they make a skeleton out of that, and then they somehow build what the character looks like on top of all these things that somehow come together. But I still don't know, and I've never really tried to fully understand it because I think my head would explode if I really thought about it too much. But the excuse me, the cool thing about performance capture, motion capture, is the cameras are everywhere. So if you're doing like TV or movies, you have to know where the camera is, and you have to kind of play to the camera. Doing performance capture, the camera is anywhere, and they don't tell you like we're gonna try to get it from this angle. They just say, go do the scene. And then later they can put the camera wherever they want. So you have really so much freedom with that. It's, I mean, the whole thing is crazy because, again, all of us in the Vanderlyn gang, I mean, even like the women were sweet, whatever, some of them, not all of them, I guess, but you got all these tough, like real tough cowboys, and we're all walking around in spandex. If you could have seen it in real life, it's a whole different ballgame. But we all look that way. So, like, when you know you get into it, you don't feel like this is really weird. It's just looks very, very different in the game than it did in real life, and it was amazing. A lot of the stuff, if there was something they wanted you to interact with, it would be a prop that they would usually make out of foam or, you know, something that wasn't going to make any noise if you dropped it or whatever the case may have been. But you had to pretend that, I don't know, if this was a foam thing, that I'm drinking it and I put it down, and or if it's, I remember one time I was doing some fence building stuff as John, and I remember picking up this thing that was supposed to be a post and dragging it across the stage. And the director was like, oh my goodness, you're so strong. And I thought, that thing doesn't weigh anything. And he goes, I know it does in real life though. You have to pretend that it's heavier than what it is. And okay, yeah, right. So you just, a lot of it was like really using your imagination. And it was a really cool, almost feeling like you're in a class, sort of, but also doing the work at the exact same time. Really amazing. And yes, there were times where they would say, okay, we need another character. We didn't have enough people here today. You're going to play this character that's not John. So don't make a sound, because if you do, they're going to know that it's you. And then they would also say, don't ever move like John, which is kind of like, okay. So if you ever watch a scene and there's an NPC that doesn't talk but has like a severe limp or something, that's probably me.
Have you ever gone through the game and tried to like point out where your emotions are, or is it they kind of just blend into the background at this point?
Oh my goodness. Well, so you mean like?
For the extra characters that you
Oh
you know.
goodness, no. I don't remember what they would have been in Red Dead Redemption. I know in Undead Nightmare I had to be a zombie a lot. I know that John became a zombie in Undead Nightmare for a while, but I also was like the extra zombie, and that was always funny because every time that they would have me in that situation, they'd say, "Cut! God, Rob, you are the worst zombie we've ever had. You're terrible." Now I'm like trying to be a zombie, but not like John would do it, and it probably was terrible. But oh my goodness, what a wild, crazy, fun experience.
Beyond getting to play a zombie, what were some of the favorite scenes you had that you got to film as John in any of the games?
Oh my goodness, it's so hard to pick favorites because I truly enjoyed every second of it. But I do know, like, so the way the game was made, they would give you the script just in little sections at a time, and then when you would go work on them, you would do them out of order. I don't know if that was by design so that they could maybe protect their. If we all knew the story, then it would be easy for one of us, if one of us was willing to do it, to spoil it for everybody. So I don't know. I mean, that may never even have entered their idea of like how to do it. It could be just the producer was like, these people are available, so we're going to do this material right now. I don't know. But you would get little pieces here and there, and it made it difficult to really understand what was going on in the game until the end, and then you could kind of piece it all together and make sense of it. But the very last thing that we did, performance capture wise, I mean, we did stuff in the sound booth after we did this, but we got done with everything. The very last scene that we did was when Arthur gives John his hat, and oh my goodness, I could get emotional right now. I may.
My heart hurt.
Oh my goodness, it's so we knew exactly what that moment meant. Also, because of the way these cameras work, any of us could be on a performance capture stage right now and be invisible to the cameras unless we have this reflective tape on us. That's what the cameras see. So those markers are covered with reflective tape. I guess that's probably the extent of my understanding of it. But so for the entire process, shooting this entire giant game, there were all these Rockstar people that were in the building, but not on they call it the volume, but the stage, basically, where you go. They were just in offices around in the building, and they would do quick fixes on, like sometimes when you're doing performance capture, like an arm will be all wonky or whatever, and instead of reshooting it, they found that they can just go in there and do different things to make it like snap back into the way it actually was supposed to look. Anyway, I don't know if there were 50 of them or however many, but for that scene, also because the cameras can't see anybody, they let everybody stand on the stage. And I want to tell you, when we got that and the director said, "Cut, take that," the entire room just kind of melted. Everybody had been working so hard. And I know that, like the actors, of course, we put our heart and souls into it, but also all these people from Rockstar that had been there for way longer than we have. Oh my goodness, it was such an incredible experience. So emotionally, that was so cool. I will never, ever forget that. But I think that I'd say that's my favorite because it's too hard to pick otherwise. But that was really special, really, really cool.
I think that scene is special to a lot of fans as well. That dynamic with Arthur and John is so special.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, were there other dynamics that you got to play with John that you liked or wished that you had had more time getting to interact with different characters?
So, another thing that was kind of really cool about this is because it took so long to do Red Dead Redemption 2 alone. I got to know so many of the people that I worked with and know their spouses, know their kids. And so we had this really crazy thing going on where we all knew what was going on. I mean, what we knew of it, right? We could all share information with each other, but we all signed that same non-disclosure agreement. So we really couldn't talk to anybody outside of the people that were in the studio with us. So that made a special bond between all of us. Also, getting to know each other and each other's family members and everything like that. Because again, 5 years, most people worked on this. I mean, people got married, people had kids, people got divorced. I mean, all kinds of life, in 5 years, a lot of things can change. So I also, got to work with them on stage, knowing them as close friends. So I enjoyed working with absolutely every one of them. What the most, and I know this is possibly hard to believe, but to work with Peter Blomquist, knowing how cool he actually is in real life, truthfully, and some of you probably met him, you know who I'm talking about, Micah Bell. That was wild because you're like, daggone, man, you are so good at being so hateable. But
It's always the nicest people are so good at playing the people you want to hate on screen.
unbelievable. But my goodness, I know that was always fascinating, but there were so many really talented people that I worked with. I learned so much every time I was on the stage. Just, thinking like, oh my goodness, look at you, It was fascinating. It was really, really cool.
I love that. And obviously your own voice is very similar to John's, but are there any other John mannerisms that you find kind of still linger within you? Because 5 years is a long time to play a character, especially when so much of that performance relies upon physicality.
Yeah. I guess I don't, maybe if I stood in the mirror or if I saw, like a video of me candidly walking somewhere, not knowing that I'm on, I might be like, okay, I walk like that. But I don't notice it as much, but I know that my wife can't watch me play any Red Dead stuff because she's like, nah, no, too weird. That moves like you. That sounds like you. That doesn't look like you. I can't do it. And so, I guess it's there. I don't know.
Yeah. What is it like getting to play the game, though? Because I know you played a little bit of it, or a lot of it, I guess, technically. But what is it like to see all of that work, and then also knowing that it's had such a big impact on people too?
It's wild. Well, I mean, so I'm about to, I think next weekend, I'm going to start playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I can't wait. That is going to blow my mind, I'm sure, because then I can play it, and I will have this perspective of knowing what it looked like when it was still everybody wearing spandex, strutting around with gun holsters and cowboy boots and spandex. Oh my goodness, I wish you could see it. But like playing Red Dead Redemption, I think that it's so weird to hear the sound of your own voice, right? I think we all, even if you just record your outgoing voicemail message and you're like, no, that can't be what I sound like. Everybody feels that way, I think, right? So that's strange. But also, really remembering. It's been, the game came out 16 years ago, but that means I worked on it 18, 19 years ago, right? So, but doing scenes, or playing through and watching scenes and remembering what those people looked like in conversations that we had at lunch or whatever, it's such a cool experience. And also remembering, I never imagined that when we were doing this, it was going to look like this does on the screen, I don't know how, I don't know, I guess, obviously, if you're in school and you're doing, gaming and understanding how all that stuff works, it makes sense to you, but when the technology keeps advancing as quickly as it does, and you're given this giant budget like Rockstar is, you have to find the threshold, what works and what doesn't work. And I don't know how they do that. I know that they keep pushing it until whatever they look back at, they recognize, okay, that we can't, that's the threshold as far as that goes, whatever. But I just don't know how their brains see that far down the road and can see the full finished product in their head. Because if they couldn't, how could they possibly direct it? And how could they possibly know? You know what I'm saying? It's fascinating to me. But yeah, all those things went through my head playing Red Dead Redemption. I think playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and there's going to be so much that I wasn't in the room when it was being recorded, and it's going to be brand new to me, and I'm going to love it. I know that's what's going to happen.
I am curious. I play a lot of online for Red Dead Redemption 2, but did you play any of the NPCs in that too? Is that the same mocap in there, or was that a whole different crew?
I think that's a whole different crew. I know like Alex McKenna went back and did some work. I think Mick Malamphy might have gone back and done some work after for online. I could be wrong about that, but I think that all of that stuff. Other than, and they played, Alex McKenna played Sadie Adler in the online stuff that she did. So I think, and then there probably are people that live in New York that have gone and done work on some of the online stuff that aren't playing the roles that they played in the Vanderlyn gang or whatever. But living in Indiana, I don't,
Make it out there.
they don't have me come out for that stuff, no.
Well, speaking of Indiana and this convention, what has the experience been like for you getting to go to conventions, getting to talk with fans? Because as you said, it's been almost 2 decades since you recorded the first game. What is that like for you to still be talking about it and still getting to live with John, essentially?
It's hard to put into words. I think that, I guess what I try to do every day is just recognize, because I'm reminded every single day. Of course I am. Social media, whatever. And I just recognize how lucky I am. It could have been anybody. I mean, it really, especially thinking back, like I just told you, like when I got the call, I thought, I don't want to do that. I almost didn't go. And then it most definitely would have been somebody else. And, but yeah, I mean, even like the odds of any of us booking the roles that we booked are staggering. It just, my goodness, I don't know how to appreciate it enough. I don't know. Look at me stuttering up here, but yeah, it's so hard to really wrap my head around how fortunate I've been through all this. It's been really great.
I love that. That's a beautiful sentiment. We are going to be doing fan questions next, so if you're ready to ask questions, I would like to have people start coming up towards the microphone. And while we wait for somebody to be bold and daring and ask the first question, I want to know, who have you geeked out about seeing at one of these conventions?
Gosh, a lot of people. A lot of people. I mean, listen, we're all from, not everybody in this room is from Indiana, but I'm from Indiana. I grew up in Seymour. I'm sure that if you walked into my house, you'd feel just like walking into your own home. I mean, I did get crazy and decided to move to LA because I thought, what else am I going to do? When I was at that age, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I thought, I'm going to try that. I didn't have responsibilities other than myself at the time, and I thought, I'm doing it. Whatever. And I got really, really lucky. So, yeah, I think when I go to these Comic-Con things, I'm a fan of everybody. I mean, I truly am. And I've got the really cool, I guess, experience and, the opportunity to get to know the Vanderlyn gang actors as well as I have, because they all are as cool as you think they are. They're just really cool people. But yeah, we because we know each other, we can be like, oh, that's somebody over there, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan too, of course.
Have you had anybody come up and be like, I played the game, I love your character, among those people that you're geeking out about?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it's not often. But yeah, so Rob, what is his last name? My goodness, I'm so bad. Saturday Night Live, Rob.
Schneider?
Maybe that's who it was. Oh my goodness. I'm so bad. I am so bad with names. This completely caught me off guard.
But people have played your game and they are fans of you.
Oh goodness. Well, thank you. Yeah.
That's so fun.
It is fun.
Do we have a first question? I saw somebody moving. There we go. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name is Lainey, and my question is, what's the worst thing that you've had to either film or record? Just like technical difficulties, like you just hated it.
Well, there were, some days were better than other, and I did go through a couple days, my goodness, over the course of however many, years I got to work on all of this, whole entire series, where I just couldn't spit my lines out. And if you're having a bad day, that's unfortunate, but they've still got a schedule to keep, right? So you just keep going and going and going. And the more you go and the more you mess up, the more frustrating it gets and the more in your head you get. On Red Dead Redemption, that scene just before, and I know this now because I played it, but just before John Well, okay, so he's talking to Jack about, oh, them machines can make a man fly, or turn a man into an angel, or whatever that line is. See, I can't say it now either. But I'm not kidding you. We did that scene 35 times, if not more. And I remember thinking, like, I just want a break. I can't do this right now. And they were like, all right, you ready? And there were a couple times where I was like, no. You can see that I'm not ready. And they'd say, all right, ready? Action. And then I'd walk in there and be like, I'd mess it up again. I mean, thank God I remember that being one of those times. And then there was another one going to get Jack back from, Bronte. John goes up and starts rattling on the fence, I think, and saying something about nothing like, oh, goodness, I can't even begin to say this one. But it was another one where I did at least 20 takes. And the funniest thing about that one was I had to turn around and say it to Dutch. And Big Ben Davis, who's 6'5", 6'7", whatever he is, I would turn around to him, and every time he'd have this look on his face like, you going to get it this time? Which is amazing and was awesome. I love Ben. He's a good friend. But, yeah, there were days, and I think otherwise, no. It was the really, really crazy stuff they had stunt people for. And I went into it thinking like, oh, goodness, I'll do my stunt. Until I saw what the stunt people did. And I thought, yeah, you better. Amazing. But thank you for asking.
That's a great question. Next up, hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Tyler. Like you, I'm a big Lego fan, and I was wondering if it were up to you, which scenes throughout the franchise would you have turned into Lego sets?
Wait, say that again. What out of the franchise?
Which scenes throughout the franchise would you have turned into Lego sets?
Oh, my goodness. Wow. My goodness. Well, I think that it would be amazing to see Arthur hand John his hat. I think everybody would appreciate that, right? Braithwaite Manor, that whole deal, that was awesome. And I haven't even played it yet, but like watching it, with other people's playthroughs, that would be pretty cool. I think people would like to build that. Legos are awesome, aren't they? Oh my goodness. I can't believe I do this. I sit down and do this every day and I'm like, do I really do? I do this. This is awesome. Anyway, if you're tuning in, thank you. My goodness. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think would be a good one?
I was thinking the bank robbery in Saint Denis would be a good one.
Yes.
Or a train robbery.
Trains, banks, yes. Man, I can't wait. And you know what? 6 months from now, when I've really gotten into this game, I probably have 1,000 better answers for you than what I just said. But man, I love carriages. I love, horse. I've got a horse that I built. It's not from Red Dead, but yeah, man. Ask me in 6 months. I'll tell you a better answer. How's that?
Thank you.
That's a very fun question. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name's Andrew. So I was wondering, there's a lot of influential Western stars from the 60s and all that time, like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. How does it feel to be kind of the modern John Wayne or Clint Eastwood, especially in Western games? There's so many, you'll play a game, you'll say, oh my gosh, that's John Marston, or they totally thought of John Marston while they were making that. So I was wondering, how does that feel to kind of be the Western icon for the modern day?
Man, that's a really cool thing for you to say. I appreciate you saying it. I don't know if I agree with it, but I appreciate you saying it. And you know what? Even if it is the case, I promise you, I can't be like, yeah, I did that. I couldn't. If you saw what I did, again, the script, only in little sections at a time. Doing these scenes, it didn't take me long to recognize that John's a pretty grumpy dude. But I didn't fully understand why, of course. And I had to ask so many questions. And a lot of times, the scenes that we did, I was always prepared. I knew my lines. I knew that my lines were the ones that weren't a woman. But I didn't necessarily know what they really meant. And it was sometimes really difficult for the director to be able to explain it to me. So there were a lot of things that we would do. And he would be like, all right. Everything up until this point, and then when you say this, do it like this, and then come over there and do this, and whatever. And then, so I was more of like Ben Davis likes to call it meat puppet. when you but truthfully, I trusted the director and the animators that would say, do it like this, and that's what we need. I didn't make a whole lot of choices other than to show up prepared and be ready for them to say, do this as you're saying these lines. So you truthfully have to give full credit to Rockstar. Of course, like I said, I did what I could, which is be there, prepared, be on time, know my lines. But beyond that, everything that you saw, you really have to say, Rockstar Games, you're geniuses. Not saying that they're geniuses because it was that good, but if it was good in your mind, give them the credit. I promise you.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on.
Great question. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
I'm Ash, and I would like to have ask a question about John Marston, if that's okay. So, looking at what his perspective on Dutch in the epilogue of Red Dead 2 versus his more nuanced perspective in Red Dead 1, can you give some insight as to sort of that recontextualization about his opinion of Dutch, given what happens from the epilogue to Red Dead 1? That was a mouthful. I'm sorry.
No. I appreciate it. That was really a great question. I think you got to remember that John grew up. You hear him talking to Bonnie McFarlane about his parents, right? And then you find out that he was in an orphanage. Then he ran away from that, and then he fell in with the Vanderlyn gang, right? And so, just like everyone, we need a place we need a group. We need support. We need to feel like we belong somewhere. And they made him feel like you're one of us. We'll help you. We'll raise you. We'll take care of you. We will educate you. Mm-hmm. And Dutch was, as far as we know, the one that really was the father figure to John. And then I think, John just started recognizing this guy that I trusted with everything and looked up to is now losing his mind. And also he's getting, Arthur is being like, you're right, man, he is. Don't worry about all this stuff that you've been taught. It's nonsense. The guy's lost his mind. So I think that it would be like seeing that with your own eyes and learning it, but being reaffirmed by other people that you respect and trust. But also there's a lot of pain, I would assume, with that, where you think, now I don't feel comfortable anymore. I don't feel supported anymore. This is not good. So I think there's a whole crazy dynamic going on.
Yeah, and then there's what happens in the end, not to spoil Red Dead 2 for anyone who's not seen the ending, and that's got to be especially complicated in John Marston's mind.
Yeah. Excuse me. I mean, and I guess the other thing too is John leaving for a year. Nobody knows where he went. Nobody knows. I don't know. And then, so that throws a whole other thing in it too. Who is John? Who are you, dude? And what are you about? You're not a very good father. Well, you tried to be eventually, but what is your thing? I don't know. It's complicated, very complicated. I love that question, though.
Right, thank you.
It's a really good question. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Colton. I just got an Undead Nightmare question for you, right? Out of the 4 horses of the apocalypse, which one was your favorite?
Well, all right, so I did play some of Undead Nightmare, but I haven't played enough to probably answer that question. But I do know there's one that's on fire.
Yeah, it's the war.
That
I believe
course
so.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, we got war, pestilence, famine, and death. Don't forget the unicorn. That's not the 4.
Yeah, there's a unicorn. I've heard of that, seen maybe clips of that. Which one's your favorite?
I would say probably war. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's the coolest looking one.
Right on. Well, then,
All right, yeah, that's all I
when
wanna
get
know.
there, I'm going to choose that one. Thank you.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Rosie, and this is a stupid question, but have you ever attempted to play the 5-finger fillet game in real life? And if you did it make you rage quit? Because I know a person, and it was deeply an effective part of their lives.
For real, with a real knife?
No, the part in the game.
Oh, goodness.
There's a video.
No, hell no. Your friend is nuts. Be
That
careful.
was the guy you just talked to, actually.
No, so I did try it, and no, that's definitely a rage quit moment for me. But also I was streaming it, so it's like, I want to rage so much more than I actually rage, but I remember like there's probably kids watching. Or adults that just, I mean like full-fledged crazy person, that's where I was in my head, but trying to like hold it down. That and horseshoes,
Oh.
both of those, like I was equally raging inside when I was doing those things.
So it's a normal human thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is anybody good at it? Is anybody good at it? Yeah, right on. Well, then I'm going to find you next time I get to that point. Be like, all right, come on, do your thing, man. Sit out. That's awesome.
That was a very
Thank
fun
you.
question. Thank you. See, it wasn't stupid. It was a good question. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
I'm Lucas, and I just had a question. Other than John Marston, what was your favorite character?
My goodness. Well, I think, again, and I'm so sorry, but once 6 months from now, I may have a different answer. But I think that, gosh, it's so hard. It is so hard to answer that. Again, I know this is crazy. It sounds like a cop-out, I'm sure, but I know all these people. And it's hard to say I like one of their performances better or one is written better. No, I couldn't possibly say that. But I think there's no doubt that Arthur Morgan had a very profound effect on John. And I think you kind of have to appreciate that
Yeah.
over the others. Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, right on. Thank you.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Radley. I had a question about John and his horse. I don't think he'd be the kind of person to be affectionate, but to a cowboy, a horse is his partner. My question is, how did you get in character to record some of the voice lines, like as he was riding, or for some of the bonding scenes in RDR2?
You know what? Somehow, nobody had me do it twice. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. But I don't know. I think, I guess you just have to imagine, you know, like if you're riding, you're saying nice things to your horse, you got to celebrate and be up, you know. Yeah. But a lot of that stuff, all of that stuff, I think actually was done in the sound booth, and you just try to knock it out. They've only got you in there for like 4 hours. That's as long as it could possibly be, which is a Screen Actors Guild rule or something, right? So you don't blow your voice out. But they really try to get as much as they can get recorded in 4 hours. So a lot of that stuff, you just don't put a whole lot of thought into it. I mean, there's so much of it, man. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really remember it, to be honest.
I'm
with
only
you.
curious because as an equestrian, I do talk to my horse that way in real life.
Oh, right on. That's awesome. Well, that's so cool that you do that. Wow. I love it.
Thank you.
Great
Right on.
question. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Brady. I just have a quick question about the game. Do you think Uncle really had lumbago, or was it just an excuse?
Oh, goodness, man. I think Uncle probably did not have lumbago, and the reason why is because if somebody really did, nobody would get that mad at him for it, right? They knew he was full of it. You keep a guy like that around just, I don't know, to feel better about yourself, maybe, right? Yeah. But, yeah, they knew he was full of it. He's just a lazy, but whatever.
All righty, thank you.
You're right on.
We still have time for a few more questions, but I'm going to follow up on the one about recording lines in the recording booth. What were some of the moments where you had to do, the word is like escaping me now, but like when you're getting punched or hit or those kind of like scenes, how fun was that to get to kind of play with different vocalizations in terms of like if you're getting hit really hard or soft and like there's differences?
Oh my goodness, yeah. And they say we went, because they want it to sound different, right? You don't want to have the same sound effect for every punch. But they wanted to, obviously the sound that you make when you get punched is different than the sound that you make when you throw a punch. Mm-hmm. But also, now you're swinging a little bit harder. Now you're swinging, and you do all these different levels of getting punched, throwing punches, and this is with kind of all of the different sound effects that you would make, but they would say, let's try and get, 5 different low, getting punched grunts. And so you're like, all right, only 5, that's cool. And low, so you're like, ugh. So whatever, and some of them are easier than others, but to get 5 different, and these are guys like, got their headphones on, looking at a computer, looking at everything, to get 5 different that are also within the category that they described, you end up doing 20, because the first one somehow sounds exactly like the 4th one, and then whatever, you know what I mean? So that was kind of a wild thing, and one thing, so in Red Dead Redemption, you had to make the puking sounds, right? And I really wish, because they bring in a trash can for you. They're like, just in case. And you're like, I won't need that. But then they start directing you, and they're like, it doesn't sound like anybody puking. You got to make it. And so when you get really into it, and you really, really don't try this, make yourself sound like you're puking and want it to sound believable, you almost puke. And some people actually have. Thank God I didn't. But they had all that from Red Dead Redemption, and then Red Dead Redemption 2, they're like, all right, here we go. And I'm like, I know you've got this. They're like, do it again, brother. So
The fans will know that puke sound.
yeah. Oh my goodness. So thank God I survived that twice without puking, but goodness, that was brutal.
I know in like 6 months you'll have different answers probably once you've encountered it. But because Red Dead Redemption 2, I feel like, is everywhere on the internet, you cannot scroll Instagram or anywhere without seeing a clip. Is there a moment that you've been reminded of by like flipping through your own social media and being like, oh, I forgot about that scene. I forgot about that day on set.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, so I was talking to somebody just today. They asked me to write, instead of signing it as John Marston, sign it as Rip Van Winkle, which is awesome. But the truth about that is somebody else did that performance capture. That wasn't me walking up there. I don't know who it was, but I wasn't there that day. Everybody else was, but I wasn't. They had somebody else do it. And then in the sound booth, they just said, all right, read this, Rip Van Winkle. So I kind of timed it out. Rip Van Winkle. I know that didn't sound like it either, but, and then they were like, dying laughing. And I'm like, what does this even mean? And they're like, you got it. Let's go. Keep moving. So it's such a trip to, I'm sure when I play this, like you said, 6 months from now, yeah, there will be hundreds, I'm sure, of things where I think, oh my goodness. But yeah, and in fact, in Red Dead Redemption, just because it wasn't long ago I did a playthrough of that there were several things where I thought, oh, I completely forgot about all of this. And it's fascinating. Most of it I remembered, but there were things that I definitely forgot. Yeah.
Do we have a question?
Yeah.
Hi. What's your name? What's your question?
My name is Griffin. And I was just wondering, do you have a favorite Western movie? Because like you guys were just talking about, I see all the scenes all the time. And basically, it is a movie. It's an interactive movie. One of my favorites, Red Dead and Red Dead 2. But do you have a favorite Western film?
So I guess I do, actually. But this is like, it's not an old spaghetti Western. It's Tombstone.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. And of course, that came out 20 years before. I mean, maybe not 20 years before I started working on Red Dead. I had no idea I was going to be able to do. I just really, really enjoyed that movie. So if you haven't seen Tombstone, maybe go check it out. It's pretty awesome. But you know what I just saw today? And this was awesome. Have you ever seen Three Amigos?
Oh.
Somebody edited the OK Corral, right? That gun in Tombstone with a gun battle in Three Amigos, and it's amazing. And I really suggest you watch Three Amigos too, because that's really fun and awesome and funny.
It's a great question. Do I have 2 more questions here? Are you okay? And you 2 will be our final questions.
Oh, thanks. Hey, Rob. I actually met you a couple years ago at a con. It's nice seeing you again. Thanks for coming back. I'm surprised you did. My name's Excel Brooks. Earlier you mentioned not knowing the context of the Rip Van Winkle quote. I was wondering if there have been times in the studio where the guys aren't recording anything and they're just messing with you and are like, say this on the mic just for kicks and giggles.
I don't think so. I know that there was a lot of laughter on the other side of the glass when I was in the sound booth, and I'd look over and I would like say something, maybe not knowing what, like I said, it was a bunch of stuff written down and you just kind of rattle it off, and they would stop you, like, wait, that one, say it, think of this when you say that line, whatever, and they would change a little bit. And then you just get right back into it. But there were several times where I would read something and it would just be silence and the thing would stop scrolling. It was like on a screen where, almost like a teleprompter. But it would stop and I'd look over because I could see through this glass and I could see all these guys in the studio just doubled over laughing. One of those times was, I don't know what, it was like antagonizing lines and all these crazy things. And I really got into a rhythm, and they weren't stopping me, and I just kept going. And then all of a sudden, the line was, "Have you seen my squirrel?" But I was doing the John yelling, screaming, and all. "Have you seen my squirrel?" And then dead silence. I remember thinking like, "What?" And then I look over, and they're like, "No." Oh my goodness! You know what? We laughed the entire time. These were the coolest people, having fun, enjoying it. So, yeah, I mean, probably, yeah, they probably did play jokes on me, and they could probably tell you all kinds of stories that I know nothing about. But yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
good to see you, man.
Great question.
Thank you.
And you will be our final question. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Kendall Ford, and after working on both Red Dead 1 and Red Dead 2, what was your favorite quote from both games? Like, what favorite Red Dead 1 quote and favorite Red Dead 2 quote?
Oof. Well, okay, so this is one of those things, too, where I get reminded of quotes every time I'm doing one of these things because somebody will have something specific that was their favorite, and they'll say, and I'll go, oh, my goodness, I think that's my favorite, too. And I'll say that about 10 different quotes because Rockstar, they do a whole lot of things really, really well, but I think writing, honestly, may be what they do best. I mean,
Yes.
But I will say that I think that they have a favorite John Marston quote. So the line, "People don't forget, nothing gets forgiven." John says that to Bonnie McFarlane standing on her porch. That's also in one of the trailers for Red Dead Redemption. And then I don't know where it is, but John and Hosea are sitting at a picnic table or something in one of the camps, and John's all stressed out. Hosea is like, people forget about it. And John says, well, people don't forget. Nothing gets forgiven. So I think that line is probably Rockstar's favorite John quote.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
right on. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out, and thank you for coming out. Are you heading back to your table?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I am.
So if you didn't ask your question, you can find him at his table. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.